What's up, booktube? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura if you're new here, and today I'm talking about books that I would love to read during the winter season. So I recently did a video where I did recommendations of books that I have read that are perfect to read during the wintry season. So I will link that down below if you want to go check that out. But this video is books that I have not read that I think would be fantastic for this time of year. I was going to just make this one big video, but like I had way too many books to talk about, so I just figured I would break it up and do two separate ones. And so here we are. I guess this doesn't really need that much introduction. It's pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing here. So I do have like 3 categories of books that I'm talking about today. One of those is Christmas romance novels. This will be my first like Christmas season where I've been interested in romance. So these will be my very first time reading Christmas romance books, and I'm really excited for it. I think they're gonna be so much fun. And then I have a few books that aren't romances, but they're set in the winter, so they would be perfect to read right now. And then I have a few more books that like I'm not really sure why they feel like winter books to me. They're not set in the winter, but just for some reason I feel like they would be good to read during the winter time. So that's what's happening today. Let's begin. Starting with the holiday romance novel, the first one being In a Holidaze by Christina Lauren. I read a couple things by Christina Lauren and I have loved what I've read for them so far. They're so much fun. So I am so hyped for their holiday book. This one's kind of a weird one. It's about a woman who I think their family is like selling their cabin up in Vermont or something, or some nice place in America, I forget where. But they've gone to that place every single Christmas for her entire life, so she's very upset that they're selling it. And on the drive there for their very last holiday there, they're in a car crash and she wakes up at the beginning of that same day and she keeps looping and living the same day over and over again. I think that's what happens. I might be wrong though, so if I'm wrong, just like fully ignore me. Next up is Mistletoe and Mr Wright by Sarah Morgenthaler. This book I want to read because it sounds absolutely ridiculous in the best way possible. It sounds hilarious. This is technically book 2. The first book is the tourist attraction, but I'm pretty sure they're just companion novels, so you don't have to read the first book. I'm hoping at least. But this book sounds hilarious, so I'm just gonna read you guys the description off of Goodreads because it like perfectly sums up why this book sounds so great to me. So it says, how the moose almost stole Christmas. As a Canadian, you can see why I already want to read this book. Lana Montgomery is everything the quirky small town of Moose Springs, Alaska can't stand. A rich socialite with dreams of changing things for the better. But Lana's determined to prove that she belongs, even if it means trading her stilettos for snow boots and tracking one of the town's hairiest Christmas mysteries, the Santa Moose, an antlered Grinch hell-bent on destroying every bit of holiday cheer and tinsel it can sink its teeth into. And really, how hard could it be? The last few years have been tough on Rick Harding, and it's not getting any easier now that his dream girl's back in town. When Lana accidentally tranquilizes him instead of the Santa Moose, it's clear that she needs help and fast. This could be his chance to finally catch her eye. It's an all-out Christmas war, but if they can nab that darn moose before it destroys the town, Rick and Lana might finally find a place where they can both belong together. This sounds amazing. Like, this is a romance novel surrounding a moose. Like, this can't get any more perfect. As a Canadian, it is my duty to read this book. It sounds incredible. It feels like it's going to be a laugh riot the whole time, so I can't wait to get to this one. The final holiday romance book that I'm looking forward to is called Mangoes and Mistletoe by Adriana Herrera. This one sounds so freaking cute. Oh my god. It's about a woman who's from the Dominican, I believe, and she ends up falling in love with her teammate slash competitor, and it sounds adorable. I just really need a cute lesbian holiday romance surrounding food and baking and Christmas, and just like this just sounds amazing. I really need just more like lesbian romance novels, so please, if you have any recommendations, send them my way. Christmas, wintry themed or not, just give me lesbian romance novels, please. And then I have 2 books on this list that are set during the winter, so they totally make sense for this vibe. The first one is Swiss Vendetta by Tracee to Hahn. This one is a isolated close circle mystery set in a chateau that's been snowed in during the worst snowstorm of the century in Switzerland, and the main character is a police detective who is stuck in the chateau after she was called there to work her very first homicide case. So this one sounds perfect for the winter time. I'm really interested in reading mysteries, especially like close circle mysteries during the winter time, because it just like perfectly fits that mood. I just want the aesthetic of sitting in like a really gigantic oversized chair with a mystery novel in my lap. It just sounds perfect. So I'm looking to do that, and I think this one will definitely give me that feeling. So I am really looking forward to it. And the other one is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I'm not too sure on the plot of this one, but I know that it involves fae who were like made of ice or something. So like there's a whole like wintry theme throughout this book, and there's magic and fairies and all this really cool stuff. So it sounds fantastic. I have yet to read a book by this author, but this one sounds perfect for winter. So maybe I'll get to it sometime soon. And finally, I have a few books here that I'm not really sure why they give me winter vibes. They just kind of do. Or they're just like the kind of books I would want to read during the winter, if that makes any sense whatsoever. The first one here is the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. I have talked about this series to death on my channel, so I'm sorry that I'm bringing it up once again, but it can't be helped. For this one, I'm not really sure why, but winter makes me want to read sci-fi novels. Just think about like things being set in space, I guess because like it's cold and dark, and I don't know what it is, but I like reading sci-fi in the winter, and I really love Murderbot. You have that great space setting, but it's also hilarious and heartwarming, and the narrator is very witty. So it's just a very fun story during the long, cold winter nights that make everybody miserable. And Murderbot is a great way to cheer up while also being a sci-fi, which for me means winter vibes. So it's perfect. Oh, synopsis, because I'm terrible at remembering to do that. It follows a Murderbot who's a AI security robot who's hacked his own system and is pretty much sentient, but he hacked himself to be able to go rogue so that he can just like sit down and watch soap operas all the time and like not be bothered by anybody. He hates humans. He thinks they're so annoying, but he's constantly being roped into helping humans, and he is really salty about it because like literally all he wants to do is be left alone for like the rest of eternity and just watch a bunch of soap operas on repeat. That's all he wants. It's fantastic. I love this series. And then we've got Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is like a classic epic fantasy that I just haven't gotten to yet. I did start it earlier this year. I got to like around page 150 or so, but then the Owls readathon started and I did not have time to finish this book beforehand, so I just haven't picked it back up since. But for some reason this book just feels like the kind of thing that you should read in the wintertime. Again, that whole vibe of like being curled up on a giant chair with a fire, and this book sounds like a perfect evening to me. That's kind of why this book is here. There's really no other reason for it. Like, it's not wintry at all, but that's just the vibe it gives me. But this one follows a man named Fitz. It's a coming of age story, so we meet him when he's a child, and he like gradually grows up, and he is the bastard son of the prince who abandoned him to his mother. But then when he was a bit older, the family who was raising him was like, hey, here's your son, we don't want him anymore, peace out, and left him at the palace. So he's technically a royal, but because he's a bastard, he has no claim to anything. So the king thinks that he would make a great assassin and starts to train him as such. So that's kind of like the very basic plot of this series. This is a gigantic world with like, I don't even know how many books, but like a lot. But yeah, it just seems like it would be great to read during the winter. These next two books are by the same author, and they're the last books on this list. So I have the Starless and the Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Again, I'm not really sure why these books feel like winter to me. They just kind of have that vibe of just wanting to read them during a snowstorm. I think they would be the perfect kind of read for a really cold night. Probably several nights given the size of this one. But yeah, they just kind of feel like they would fit the winter feeling for me. The Night Circus, I have literally no idea what the plot of this one is. I'm assuming it's a circus themed book of some kind, but I have literally no clue what goes on here, and I don't really want to know. I kind of want to go into it blind, because like most people seem to have a very hard time giving us a synopsis for her books, especially this one. So I kind of just want to see what goes on and like not know too much about what's going to happen before I read it. So there's that one. And then for this Starless, I also don't know that much about the plot of it, but I do know that there is a man who works in a bookstore, and he like finds a book that tells the story of his life, but like in the future or something. I'm not really sure. It sounds confusing, but like really cool. So it's like a book about books, and there's like a quest, and it's a portal fantasy, so like it sounds amazing for me. So I can't wait for this one. And yeah, it just feels wintry. Not sure why, but it does. And that's it. That's all that I've got for today. Those are all the books that I think would be perfect to read during the winter time, and I'm hoping to get to at least a few of these this coming season. If you have read any of these books, please let me know down in the comments what you think, and if I'm right. Like, do these actually have winter vibes? I don't know. I haven't read them, so I hope they do. But that'll do it for today's video. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you very soon. Bye bye.